Hello everyone and Happy New Year. Welcome to 2019 for Garage Rock Falls Festival Special. I'm Steve. Joining me as always,
I'm Cameron and I'm going to block nose. No, I don't really, but Happy New Year everyone.
Happy New Year everyone. Happy New Year, Cam.
Oh, no, thanks mate, and same to you. How good is this, 2019?
Yeah.
We're already ready, raring to go.
Exactly. We're only a few days into it, and this is a special for two reasons. It is a Falls Festival special, but it's also a special moment for us. We're welcoming back our former Garage Rock TV co-host, Alex Lloyd, who went to Falls Festival to cover it on behalf of us. Alex, welcome to Garage Rock, the podcast.
Thanks for having us, guys. It's been a long time. It's so good to be back with you guys and talking music, which is what we do best, I think.
Exactly.
And Falls Festival was an amazing opportunity. So had a really good time there, and I'm certainly happy to kind of give some insights as to what it was all about.
We're very, very happy to have you, Alex, because it's good to see such a beautiful face in the studio alongside our beautiful faces. Obviously, Steve.
Okay.
I'm not taking away from your lovely face.
Thanks.
But it's awesome to have you here, and very excited to hear about Falls Festival.
Now, before we start, we've got to remind people we are on iTunes, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, where all good podcasts can be heard. But now, Cam, I'm used to saying, but now Alex.
But now, Cam, let's talk to Alex.
Let's talk to Alex. So, first of all, with Falls Festival, thank you to Falls Festival for having us and for giving us free tickets to do the review. And thank you, Alex, for covering it for us.
Well done, Alex. Let's give him a clap.
Oh, thank you, guys. I really appreciate that.
Picking up our slack over the break. We can't thank you enough. But first of all, should we ask if you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I loved it. I think this was, I was really excited about this Falls Festival because I thought it was one of the best lineups we've had this decade.
Yes.
It was absolute chock-a-block in terms of the diversity of the different genres that were actually on show.
Yep.
And some of the collection of emerging Australian artists that were actually present as well. It had absolutely everything, and it was an absolutely stunning festival. A terrific lineup. They did a really good job this year. I must admit that I was a little bit disappointed over the past maybe 2 years of Falls Festival lineups. I wasn't that impressed with the international contingent.
Okay.
And I thought they leaned too heavily on the reliable Aussie artists, the big name artists. But this year I think they got the balance right, and we saw some absolutely terrific artists. I had a really good time, and
awesome.
I want to go back. I want to go back to Lorne, but maybe I should just go over to Freo because Falls Festival hasn't actually started over there yet.
Exactly. You just jump on a plane and get over there and enjoy it all again. Cover it again for us.
Half tempted. Falls downtown, they call it.
Yes,
it's quite different as well.
We're going downtown.
So tell us a bit about the site itself. It was all set up. You're happy? It's you've been there before. It's the usual setup. It was anything different to previous years?
Yeah, it was the same setup pretty much. I suppose I've always been a fan when I went to Marion Bay Falls probably 5 years ago, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
I always liked the fact that the two stages were quite separate with the village in between.
Yeah.
But it was the same setup, but it still worked absolutely fine. The only problem is, I suppose, if you're at the top of the hill and you want to watch the valley stage from a distance, you can kind of hear the music coming from the Grand Theatre behind you. So, but yeah, it was a good setup. The village was fantastic. There was the relaxation area, which was also quite good, where they had yoga and also some good vegan food as well.
Did you partake in a bit of yoga, a bit of relaxation in between sets or something?
No, I didn't. I just found some good food there. But I watched some of the yoga, and it was quite good. Everyone seemed to join in.
You just watched people doing yoga.
I was eating at the same time.
Fair enough.
I'd know where to sit.
Everyone loves yoga pants.
Yes. Now, let's talk about the main reason people are there, the music. So, do you want to just take us through, I guess, your highlights and tell us about different acts that you saw and what you thought?
Yeah, so I suppose some of the highlights, I mean, it's a busy 3 days. I think all up there's probably about 70 artists, and it's a challenge to get around to a lot of them. One of the good things about the first 2 days is that there's actually only one stage in action, so you can actually pretty much engage with everything that's happening on that stage. But
so you can sort of set up camp and just chill out for the day and just watch act by act.
It's easy to get drinks, it's easy to get food, it's all quite contained.
Yeah, beautiful.
That's really easy. And that's what makes Falls such a great festival, because it's just such an easy experience, and it's value for money in that regard as well. So I arrived on the Saturday, and there were some really amazing Australian acts to actually kick off the day. One I wasn't actually planning on seeing, but I did, was Amil and the Sniffers.
Yes.
So they're a proper punk act, and Amy, who's the front woman, her stage presence is just absolutely phenomenal, and she even jumped off the stage as well and got carried around.
Really?
A bit of crowd surfing.
That's
there, which
awesome.
is where they got the sign saying you're not allowed to crowd surf, but she certainly did that, and they really attracted a lot of people to the stage, and that was a really good act.
That is punk. That is punk.
It was
you go
proper
against
punk.
the sign that says no crowd surfing. That is punk.
Yeah. And they were on, like you said, they were, the first act of the day.
First act of that day.
And so at 12 o'clock, people are probably still nursing hangovers from the previous night. People still might be just getting there as well. But so there was a decent crowd for them.
Decent crowd for them at the start, because Dizzy Rascal the previous night finished quite early. But it actually kicked off a good little sequence of acts, actually, because we also had Slowly Slowly follow afterwards, which was another fantastic act.
My boys.
Cam's boys, yes.
Cam's boys. Yeah, but you were envious that I was pretty much front row for that. But
a few mates from work actually went, and I said, make sure you go check out Slowly Slowly, which I think they did. And what did you think?
Yeah, they were really good.
Yeah.
And I think they really, it was a good sequence because a lot of the crowd that was there for Amyl and the Sniffers actually stuck around for Slowly Slowly.
Awesome.
And the band after that, again, like I said, it was a good sequence. Do you know the Adelaide boys, West the Barton?
Yes. We've actually featured them on one of our episodes at one point, didn't we?
Yeah, they were up for Best Hard Rock album at the Arias.
Yes.
So, and how were they?
Yeah, really good. So obviously there's 7 guys in the band, so it's a pretty wholesome experience, and it's a pretty awesome wall of sound you're actually getting from the guys there. And they just attracted so many more people to the stage as well. So
that's
was
awesome. It's not an easy thing to have 7 blokes up on stage. Did they orchestrate that quite well?
Yeah, perfect. I mean, I saw them at a previous festival, and they're just so accomplished. And the frontman, I don't know his name, but he's got real power the way he kind of prowls around the stage and gets the audience involved. So he was really good.
You're making me want to go to a festival right now. I'm excited. I wasn't even there.
Well, we've got another festival next week, but
I know. Anyway. I wish it was now.
Okay, all right. Well, we've got a podcast to do, Cam.
Oh no, sorry. Moving on. Anyway, thanks for coming in.
So I mean, there were a few other good acts that day. So obviously that was just during the day. That was the early part of the day, and then we moved into some of, I suppose, the more recognised acts such as King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was packed out as well.
Speaking of a lot of people on stage.
Yes. Well, there we go. That continued with that one. That was a really amazing set. You know, had a bit of everything as King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard usually bring, which was good. And then we had First Aid Kit, which changed the scene up a little bit, which was good. So the Swedish folk pop duo, they were great, and they engaged with the audience. And one of the things actually that I found, and I was surprised because sometimes I thought you'd look out from the stage and you think it looks a little bit bare because it's such a big hill, but all of the artists, and even those that probably didn't command the audience that they might have, all seemed quite blown away by how many people they were actually playing to.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a theme that just seemed to recur. Everyone actually seemed genuinely impressed and a little bit, just taken aback by how many people were actually engaging with the music, which was a really cool thing, actually.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. And also that night we also had Cut Copy, who are one of my personal favourites.
One of your favourites.
One of my favourites. I've seen them a couple of times, and they absolutely... That was a key moment of the festival. That made it feel like it was a big New Year's party for the next couple of days, and that really kicked it off as well.
Yeah,
so that geared you up for the rest of the festival, did it?
It did, and it was a sign of things to come. And the next day we had another terrific set of Aussie artists in the morning and the afternoon. So I checked out Moaning Lisa, who have featured.
Yeah, we featured Moaning Lisa on the podcast.
They were fantastic. So they only had about a half-hour set in the Grand Theatre, but it was a perfect antidote, I think, for a few hangovers as well.
Yeah.
But they're fantastic. I think there's a real sign of things to come with those.
Great
guys.
vocal harmonies.
Yeah, beautiful harmonies. It's a great. I mean, there's not really a front woman or front person as such. It kind of bounces between the two guitarists. But yeah, it was great. Loved it. And then we also had that was actually followed by a hip hop act who I'd actually seen their video clips, and their video clips are quite funny in the sense that they're kind of they're quite amusing in the sense they kind of seem almost a little bit dorky, a little bit 90s revival. But Triple One from Sydney.
Oh yeah, what were they like live?
Oh great! So you got three rappers there pretty much, and they've all got a different. They all bring something different vocally, and the way they actually just bounce off the audience as well was just sensational. So. They were good as well. And,
definitely recommend them.
Certainly recommend. And then on the Valley stage, we had a few other good acts there, such as Tyre Line and Jack River.
Yep.
Jack River obviously had a huge year last year, and they brought heaps more people to the stage in the mid-afternoons. That was perfect for that. And the evening session with that, we had Amy Shark. Now, obviously, Amy Shark's coming off an absolutely massive year last year.
Yep.
She was pretty
going
much
into a massive year as well with a tour announcement.
Yeah, exactly. She's playing a couple of big shows in May, Yeah,
obviously she was pretty much she owned the Arias last year, pretty much Amy Shark, and she probably drew the biggest crowd to Falls at that point, and she was absolutely terrific. And I'd never actually seen her live before, but Yeah, there's a real... Her personality does shine a little bit through. Like, obviously, you look at her songs and they're quite accessible, pop rock to the most point. Mm-hmm. But she's got something about her which is really quite compelling.
She certainly does. I think that's why she's done so well. And I'm interested to know what's the crowd like when Amy Shark play? Is it a massive sing along, or is it just everyone sort of cruising, or what's the general vibe?
It wasn't much of a sing along. I thought it would be.
Yeah,
it was a lot of people just hanging to obviously hear some of her obviously award-winning tracks, but it wasn't so much a sing-along, but just a lot of people really keen to see, obviously, Australia's most impressive artist over the past 12 months pretty much do her thing. Mm-hmm. And, her stage looked pretty awesome. She had the big letters, Amy Shark there. It just kind of looked pretty cool. But
I saw the photo. I suppose, in the grand scheme of things, her album is still quite new.
Yeah.
So people are probably still getting into it and learning about her. So it'd be interesting to see how her year goes this year, which I think will be bloody awesome. Yeah. Which slowly have been announced as the supporting act for her tour of Australia. So that's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's a good mix.
That's huge. Yeah. So good on them.
Good on them. Good on both of them. So that was really good as well. So also I managed to duck across to the Grand Theatre because I was really intrigued about this synth pop act from Sydney called Cub Sport.
Yeah.
I've been listening to their album that they released quite recently, and it's a terrific synth pop album. And they had a huge crowd at the Grand Theatre. The frontman there, he's fully topless. There's almost something Hutchins-esque about him.
Oh, okay.
Actually, he's got the bleached hair going along the way. He kind
Good on you, Michael.
Walks the stage. But that was a terrific set. And
they were playing in between Amy Shark and Vance Joy.
Yes.
So that's you've got to woo the crowd away from that.
That's a hard act to follow, and then
to follow again.
And then to follow again, yeah.
He managed to... the Cub Sport were absolutely terrific. And I suppose with synth pop, I've always thought that particular scene has kind of had its day. I think we've had obviously the presets. We've had
Miami Horror,
and Cut Copy to an extent as well. I thought that's very much turn of the last decade, but it's still obviously there's still some really good acts out there, and one of them was actually on the next day. I'll just jump forward just briefly to an artist that didn't really command much of an audience because it was probably quite early, a few hangovers out there, but one to certainly look out for, Bell City Square.
Okay.
Yeah. You mentioned this to me because you really enjoyed this. You sent me a message like, oh, check these guys out. They were awesome.
I enjoyed it so much I forgot to take photos. I was supposed to make a post. That's one of the posts I forgot. But
we give you one simple thing. Here's our Instagram account. Take some photos. Make it pretend like we're there. But all forgiven. You took some fantastic photos, by the way.
So they're getting a good rap now, so that's still cool.
Yeah, Bell City Square certainly one to look out for because they were absolutely terrific. And,
what are we talking? What style? What can we expect?
I would actually compare them to Miami Horror.
Okay,
Miami Horror is probably the closest you'd actually get to them, I think. Even, I'm thinking of those artists. I don't think they're still around, but they had a hit about 2010, 2011. The artist was called Hertz. They had a song called Wonderful Life.
Yep. Oh, yep.
Years and years ago, but they very much remind me of them, but also to some extent Van Shee, who obviously were quite big for a while there as well. So they were really impressive, one to check out. Going back to the 30th, so I mentioned Cub Sport. Arguably the biggest moment of Falls, I think, was Vance Joy.
Now, I actually saw you because you posted a photo. One of the food trucks actually said, we're closing. We're closing for Vance Joy. You cannot get food.
So after his set, I was wandering up the hill to get some food and, walked past and said, close for Vance. Reopen at 9 p.m. And, sure enough, everyone was there for Vance. And look, I quite like Vance Joy. I think he's really impressive. Such a nice guy as well. He's so so good with the fans and just people in the VIP backstage area. He was just walking around and everyone was having a chat with him.
Does come across quite genuine. Now, I could imagine that set as being a bit of a sing-along. Would I be right in saying so?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And obviously Saturday Sun, which is one of his more recent hits, and obviously Riptide. Huge sing-alongs there. And my favourite song of his is Georgia, and I absolutely love that song. And people were singing along to that. It's a bit more laid back, that one. But he was a big highlight of this year's Falls, I think. And that was
awesome.
Terrific set. Bringing in the Sunset as well. Not quite on the Saturday, but the Sunday. But yeah, it was good.
What an experience.
Yeah.
They timed that well,
actually,
don't they?
I think because
surely
the one year that when we were there and we actually interviewed him, and he was there, like I said, just genuine, nice guy, just like to just have a chat.
Yeah.
And they timed him to have the sunset during his set as well, and everyone's singing along to Riptide as the sun's going down. And they also timed it well with, I think the previous day they had Neil Finn.
Yep.
For the sunset when the sun's going down and everyone's singing like "Don't Dream It's Over" and all the crowded house stuff. They do work out their timetables quite well.
Yeah, they want to.
They do. They've got it down to a T, I think, in terms of actually making sure that you have the right sequence of artists at the right times of day, and especially on New Year's Eve as well. Now that day was probably my most anticipated moment of the festival. As you guys probably know, I keep banging on about Interpol.
Yep.
I've loved them for 15 years. The post-punk New York, the best dressed band, I suppose, in the world, in many people's opinion. So they had the 9:30 slot, and this is an interesting thing about the festival for me. Look, I absolutely loved it because I love Interpol, and I'm seeing them tomorrow night anyway.
Yeah, awesome.
So I mean, that's what I'm all about. They were probably one of the poorest received artists at the festival, and I even heard a guy remark he just wanted this band to piss off pretty much and get back to all the other artists. And it makes me wonder, so Falls, because we've had such a kind of we had so many festivals kind of fall by the wayside over the past 10 years, especially camping festivals that could command big international acts. It makes me wonder that everyone wants to go to a camping festival, but there aren't that many of them, or not that many that are on a large scale anymore. When you think about demise of things like Pyramid, so it makes me wonder. Like Interpol, they're not, they're a marquee international act at the festival, but people don't want them there. They'd rather see Vance Joy. So it makes you wonder. Is the past few years the festival has been very focused on the Australian acts, your reliable Aussie acts, and even to some extent you still had that this year with Vance Joy, DMAs and the like. Does Falls Festival need to have these big marquee international acts to still be the festival, the biggest festival in Australia that it is?
Well, I mean, you can't rely on Vance Joy every year. You can't have the same big name Australian acts every year. My thinking is, if there was something like a big day out, would that have been more suited to Interpol?
Yeah, I think so.
If there was still
the old Harvest Festival was perfect Interpol territory, but obviously that's been gone for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
But probably a big day out or something that, I mean, Falls is the music and arts festival, but you didn't feel there were many people there who were there to appreciate Interpol. Obviously, they've had one of the great albums of the century, Do What They Do.
Yeah.
That's not just my opinion. Other people think that as well. But, it was really it was a little bit sad, but it meant I got to get quite close to him. So.
Well, that's... Yeah,
it is
swings
important.
And roundabouts.
It's important to keep it, mix it up, keep it quite diverse, and it's not always going to be right, is it? It's not always going to work. So I think it's, things like that, maybe it's a bit hit and miss.
Yeah.
And you just have to see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, so that was Interpol. Obviously, I was there to see him. I had a good time, but not many other people did, unfortunately, which was a little bit disappointing.
Maybe they're all going to be at the sideshow, Alex, just like you.
Yeah, we'll all be there.
Where is that, actually?
The Palais, of all places.
Okay. Nice,
really?
Lovely sit-down crowd.
Who's supporting?
The Psychedelic Porn Conference.
Our mates.
Favourite.
So they'll be supporting tomorrow night.
That sounds like a party.
Closing out that day after Interpol was another highlight of the festival, the ever-reliable Hilltop Hoods. They just turned it on.
They are a festival band.
They are definitely a festival band. I remember seeing them at Groove and the Moo, and they were the headliners. And even if you're not into hip-hop or, that type of music, you still have a great time, and you know a lot of the songs, the hits.
Yeah,
they're just awesome. They're just great live band and just good fun.
They are good fun, and I mean, even if you don't necessarily know the songs, they'll still be good fun. They rolled out Nosebleed section. I think it was the second in the set. They got that out the way quite quickly.
Early. Because I think every time I've seen them, they've closed with that. Because I mean, that's the one that goes like I think I've seen them at like about 3 different big day outs over the years.
Yeah,
and you're not necessarily always playing to your crowd at a festival. So they'd always end it with the bump. I'm surprised they came with it.
Maybe they felt like I reckon artists do that to mix it up and also get people pumped up straight away.
Yeah.
They're already pumped. They're hearing their favourite song or whatever, and they're already pumped, and so the rest of the set's going to be awesome.
Exactly. And after Hilltop Hood's flight facilities, Lex.
Yeah, I mean, I saw them at Falls back in Tassie years ago, and they've really kind of emerged since then to become, prime time festival fare pretty much, and obviously everyone was jonesing from this. Probably more Flight Facilities t-shirts worn by the punters more than any other band t-shirt pretty much. So
there you go.
Flight Facilities were pretty much
more than Interpol.
Yes, cool. A lot more than Interpol.
Yes.
You know, when you get to the end of a gig or a festival and you see the merchandise tent and all the t-shirts, once they sell out, they just come off the wall. Once they've sold out, the Interpol one was pretty much the only one left by the end of the festival. So that's not a good sign for my boys.
Oh, that sucks.
But
so now we're on to New Year's Eve. So the big day. It kicked off with Baker's Eddie at the Valley stage. Triple Day and Earth Band.
Yes. Yeah, and again there were more Baker's Eddie t-shirts than Interpol t-shirts, even though they're just a baby band, I suppose. They're quite small, but they had a really amazing set. A lot of personality in those guys. So probably worth checking out.
Yeah.
And that was followed by Loser, who obviously we featured before on the podcast.
Yeah. Now this is I heard their Restless Noise EP and I just absolutely loved it and. Got on the phone to their manager. I was like, I want an interview with these guys, and
sure enough, you did.
Yeah, sure enough, and they were great to chat with. And I unfortunately couldn't make it to their tour, but so I'm kicking myself for that. So I was like, Alex, when you're at Falls, check out Loser and report back. So
it was great.
It was great.
Yeah, it was great. Great at midday. They did a cover of Flagpole Sitter.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Jeez,
which was pretty cool.
Interesting choice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm filling in for a band, and we actually are playing that song, just a cover band. That's actually a really fun song to play. I've never played it before.
It is fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so what was the crowd like for Loser's set as well?
In terms, size, it wasn't too huge at that time of the day, but I mean, I think it did get a lot of the people who were there for Baker's Eddie as well. They kind of stuck around. It was a good start to that day, and the Loser guys were just hanging around for the rest of the afternoon. They were always up and about watching all the other acts, which was pretty cool.
Why not?
So, yeah. So
actually, make sure you check out that interview that Steve did with Loser. It's awesome. It's an awesome interview, isn't it?
Thank you, Cam.
I meant for them, but I'm joking. Did an awesome job.
Thanks.
I've mentioned
thanks, sweetie.
I mentioned Bell City Square. We need to give a shout out to Evis Cardias as well, who was a late fill-in for Sam Fender, who had to withdraw from Falls. I was intrigued to see what kind of crowd she got, because she's had a bit of airplay on various radio stations. She's got a bit of a profile now, but she got the call less than like a fortnight before the festival to come and do Falls, and she was in the Grand Theatre, and she's terrific.
Yeah,
terrific pop artist. Really got the crowd going there, and that was quite early in the day as well. So yeah, she's one to check out. And then I managed to duck down to see Bishop Briggs.
Yeah, all
the way from the US. She just shaved her head for Falls, and she was, like I mentioned before, that a lot of artists just seemed absolutely just blown away by the reception they were actually getting from the crowd. And this was at 3 p.m.
Yeah,
Bishop Briggs. She's just so likable on stage. She's just always smiling and just seems so appreciative of everyone there. Even though her songs have got a fair bit of bite to them, she just seems like the nicest person. You just want to meet and give her a big hug or something like that.
Awesome.
She's the nicest person in terms of her stage presence.
Brilliant.
Yeah, who else do we check? Mahalia came from the UK.
Yep.
She was really good. She did a cover of Rihanna's work, which went off.
Okay.
Oh, you would have loved that.
You know me.
Massive Rihanna
love
fan.
your Rihanna.
I do love my Rihanna, and then I managed to duck down for the Vaccines and got quite close to those guys. And,
Another UK band.
They were fantastic. Got the crowd going. I think I got some pretty good snaps.
Yes, you did. Yeah. Check out our Instagram page for that.
Yeah, the photos were actually pretty good. Well done.
Yes,
thank you. What else did I check out? So LPX also. I managed to only check out a bit of their set. LPX. The front woman there, she used to be in Mrs. Mister, but now LPX is her band, and
that's right.
She was going off in the Grand Theatre for her, which was good. Now, probably the most interesting, most curious slot on the festival's lineup was probably Toto.
Yes.
Yeah. How did that go?
Yeah, that blew my mind, and there's always interesting to see how many people are actually waiting at the stage in readiness for the set to begin.
Because you can't beat classics.
You can't beat those classics, no, especially not their classics, because it was absolutely packed out before they'd even hit the stage. Toto. I was struggling to get quite close to them, and I managed to find a nice little position behind a guy who had a Bless the Rains t-shirt. I got a photo of that. Not the best photo, but I got a photo. I thought I'd post that. But that was terrific. Toto set, and it was a huge crowd, probably the same size as Vance Joy the previous night.
Right.
And obviously Hold the Line was pretty early in the set, and that got everyone going. And then there was heaps of covers. They did a Weezer cover.
A cover of Hash Pipe by Weezer.
Yeah, they did.
They did Hash Pipe, didn't they?
Yeah.
I would never
because Weezer did a cover of Africa. And
so they've returned the favour kind of thing.
They've been doing hash pipe.
That's cool.
Yeah.
They wheeled that out, which was
Did they do it well? What was it like?
Oh, it was different. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't blown away by it personally. I prefer the original, but I really was not ready for Toto to, because I'd never actually heard the cover before.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was a good set. There were quite a few covers, and obviously they got over to Rosanna, which was extended version of Rosanna, which was huge, and then Africa.
Yeah.
To culminate the set.
So was that the biggest sing along for the festival?
Was. I could imagine that going absolutely off.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a video of them pretty much throwing to the audience to sing Africa, and it was huge.
Nice,
and,
cool. Awesome.
I mean, during Africa, there were a lot of people that obviously brought along specifically for that song, like African animals. So someone had a giraffe, and someone had a
inflatable.
tiger.
They didn't bring an actual giraffe.
No. Yeah, like a soft toy kind of thing, which they flashed around. Actually, Amy Shark, there were 3 sharks in the crowd.
Really?
Really?
Oh, that's cool. I thought someone pulled Harold out of the Life Ed van and took him down.
Good old Harold.
Good old Harold, man.
So yeah, I mean, Toto was great. That was a huge moment. And then I think probably the one, especially this crowd, DMAs are huge amongst like guys in the late teens, early 20s, because it's awesome. It's pretty much lad rock, and DMAs. The problem with the DMA set, look, I was really looking forward to it because I've seen them live at a festival once before, and that was when I was pretty much enchanted by them. I thought these guys were the real deal, but they had massive technical issues during the set.
Oh, right.
Oh, that's just
so they had to keep saying, look, got to get the balance right. The vocals were too quiet at one point. They were too loud. The guitar was too quiet at another point.
Could you notice?
Yeah, you could actually.
Or was it just them being precious?
No, you could notice it.
You could definitely.
You could notice
sucks.
it. Yeah, the guitar was just a little bit quiet because sometimes they have some really good little riffs that just make their songs.
When you think about it, these are kind of things that you hope not to happen. But how many bands go on and off these stages throughout the days?
Yeah,
and there's so many. All the different bands have different technical elements that they need focus on and things like that. And look, sometimes technical issues do happen.
And they do happen, but credit to the crew at Falls for actually being able to manage that transition over 3 consecutive days. DMAs were the ones that just had the worst luck, I think. It just didn't come right for them. But, I mean, just hearing songs like Play It Out is perfect, for a festival. Yeah. Melbourne's one of my favourite songs. They whipped that out as well. Delete was a big sing-along as well.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, and there was some bloke where I was who jumped on his mate's shoulders and he was completely nude, completely stark. Oh, that's interesting. And then like 2 minutes later, I saw the 6 security guys in their pink outfits surrounded him and walked him out, and all the cheers the guy was getting, just covering his packages, walking out was a bit of a highlight as well. But
jeez, all right, fair enough.
I wouldn't want one of my mates on my shoulders with no clothes.
No, I'm surprised. I hate that. Yeah, I feel a bit,
especially if he falls off and lands on you. Look, anyway,
who knows which way he's going to fall?
Exactly, true.
But DMA's great.
Brilliant.
One of the artists I wanted to check out but couldn't, because we've interviewed her for at a festivals before, Takei Maidzar.
Yeah,
I only saw about 10 minutes of her set because I went to check out Churches afterwards. She's huge now.
She's killing it. Internationally as well. She's got such a huge presence, and she's just really built a strong relationship with other artists as well. And she's killing it. And I remember the first time we interviewed her, she was really just timid and shy, and it was before she'd gone out on stage, and we just did this interview and we're having a chat, and she seemed quite quiet and she shy giggles. She didn't know what to say, and then she just came out on stage with force, and it was like, wow, she just owned the stage. And I remember it was very similar also when we did Tonight Alive for the first time, when they were very early on, and Jenna was very shy and she didn't know how to answer the questions. And then over years they developed the media training and they become a lot more confident in what they're doing as well. But so long as they own the stage, which Tonight Alive did and also TK Maidzar did, that's the bread and butter. That's where you make your fans.
And she owned it. She owned that Grand Theatre probably more than anyone, I think, at the festival. She was absolutely terrific, and it was just a shame I could only catch about 10 minutes of it. But I was pretty keen. I was really keen for Churches, Scottish synth pop. I'd never seen them live before, and I kind of regret not going to one of their shows when they came out 6 months earlier. It was amazing. Yeah, it was absolutely terrific, and just the banter and the jokes just between the actual band as well. It's just because I got the Scottish accent as well, which is kind of endearing. Yeah. But it was just massive, and I'm a big fan of their album last year, Love Is Dead. It's one of my favourite albums of the year, and just hearing songs like Miracle, Graffiti, Get Out, Never Say Die was just awesome.
Awesome.
So loved it.
That's great.
And then we next act on the Valley stage. was Catfish and the Bottommen. They're exclusive to Falls.
Yep.
Huge crowd for them. I reckon there were a lot of people actually came just for Catfish, obviously because they're exclusive to Falls.
Yep.
And a whole lot of people walking around the Catfish t-shirts. And good act for New Year's. I probably would have preferred Hilltop Hoods given the performance previous night for New Year's, but I think Marion Bay got Hilltop Hoods.
Yep.
Right.
Catfish could play at any time, and I think they get people going. So
now, did they stop for the countdown? Did they stop for the 10-second countdown?
Yeah. Songs are pretty snappy, so they managed to time it all okay. So
yeah, good.
Yeah, but they were good. They were good performance by Catfish.
So what was the so as far as Falls go for the midnight? What happened? Was there a lot of stuff going off streamers and everything?
Countdown, bit of the confetti type thing, and everyone just off their face pretty much.
Yep.
Usual fare.
How were you feeling by that stage, Alex?
I was fine. Look, I mean, I was there to do a job, so I didn't actually have too many drinks or...
Listen to that, ladies and gentlemen. That is professional.
I'm a professional.
You're going to have to teach me how to do that one day.
Exactly. But that's also... no offence. So what was, looking back on Falls, what would you say would be the biggest highlight for you?
Well, look, Moaning Lisa were really good.
Yeah?
I've got to say, I feel like it's always good when you go to a festival, because I went to Hills Festival last year. I came out with two artists that I now consider myself a fan of the band or the artist. Last year it was Fountainer and Sam Saru, and this year Moaning Lisa is one I actually want to go away and actually listen to more of.
That's great.
So I really found their set quite amazing, and that's what you want from a festival. When you've got 70 acts on the bill, you want to have 2 or 3 you can actually take away and make your own in the future. That was good. I came out with an even larger appreciation of Vance Joy and the show that he can put on.
Yep.
And Churches and Cut Copy for me were probably the best, especially when the sun's down, it's night time, and you've got acts that really do put on a huge stage show with the lights and music, literally in Cut Copy sense. That's their largest hit. Yep. Those two acts were just huge, and it was a great festival. I mean, it was a really good lineup, and credit to the organisers for putting together such an awesome lineup, I think, for this year. And anyone who's in Freo at the moment, looking forward to it all kicking off in 2 days' time. They're going to have a good time.
Brilliant.
Well, half the fun of a festival is the crowd. What was the crowd like? Was there any interesting characters? I mean, you mentioned that guy nude on his friend's shoulders. But what else? What else happened? Anything funny?
Look, I mean, funny. There were some really good outfits. There were some of the old cliched, people dressed as tennis players and the Where's Wally group.
There
was a lot of those ones. A lot of people dressed in the Hawaiian shirts and the fruit shirts as well.
Yeah.
Probably. So it's a stupid one, but I thought it was bloody awesome.
Yeah.
The whole bunch of people in Jim's Lawn, LORNE, mowing t-shirts.
Jeez.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So they've gone out and got
Custom
them made
shirts.
up.
It's just stupid, but I like that.
And was everyone pretty well behaved as well?
No, not really.
Awesome.
No, they were.
Want.
The people were well behaved. I mean, obviously there were, especially during this New Year's festival season, there were quite a few drug issues at various festivals.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some really sad circumstances at some festivals in New South Wales and also at Beyond the Valley. But Falls have always been really good at actually trying to advise people to keep hydrated, be on the lookout for any dubious substances out there or pills. Orange pills obviously were
they try and weed out a lot of drugs.
Yeah, but it's still a really, really good festival. You've got safety officers, you've got plenty of security, you've got fresh water to drink. Everyone's got a lot of support there to make sure they don't go a little bit too hard.
That's brilliant.
It was a great time. I really appreciate going. I'll go again.
That's awesome.
Well,
to Freo next week.
It's a Freo next week. Awesome. Well, Alex, thank you so much for going on behalf of Garage Rock to cover the event. Once again, thank you, Falls Festival, for providing Alex with tickets to the show to record this podcast. And it sounds like an awesome way to kick off 2019.
It was really good. And hopefully I can kick 2020 off the same way. So
it sounds like a good vision to me.
Brilliant. Well, we will be back in the near future with season 2 of Garage Rock
this year.
We will be back in 2019. Don't worry about that. In the meantime, you can also hit us up with our email address, contact@redskymusic.com.au, if you want to send through any new music. And also, we're on Instagram and Facebook as well.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, you guys.
Of course. And we'll be back in the coming weeks. Is there anything else that you wanted to? Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Oh, not really. I mean, I just what else do I want to say? I've usually got a lot to say.
Yeah.
That's good.
No, I just want to, I suppose, shout out to some of those big Aussie artists that actually made some big I suppose, big progress last year on the international scene, namely in terms of critical acclaim, like Camp Cope and the Rolling Blackouts' Coastal Fever. They've been appearing, their albums have been appearing on end-of-year lists across the world in terms of best albums of the year. Huge outcome for an Aussie artist, in Melbourne or Sydney or Perth, whatever it might be, to actually make that kind of impression overseas. And those two artists in particular made some massive ground last year.
It's not easy, not in this day and age.
No, definitely not
easy. So
awesome. Well, thank you, Alex, for your review of Falls Festival.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries.
Thanks for the photos, keeping me updated over the time. It was great. Really appreciate it.
Brilliant. And we will be back very soon with season 2 of Garage Rock. But until then, I've been Steve.
I've been Cam.
And I've been Alex.
Thank you very sweetly for doing it so neatly. I feel very well informed.
See you soon for season 2.